Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is SUBCHVRGE, and today I'm going to be breaking down my track, The Chef, which is out on all streaming platforms right now, so go check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description below if you like, but let's hop into this track. So let's just start at the beginning. We have some effects coming in right here, and I believe this is just, some regular white noise, atmospheric type stuff. A few different stems from previous projects. I like to do that a lot, where I'll make like a bunch of white noise or like background noise or effects in sound design projects, and then I'll kind of just toss them into different tracks for background atmosphere ideas. And I feel like that's a really solid way to help get a nice start for a track, or just kind of like throw ideas at the wall, see if they stick. So yeah, we have some white noise, some atmospheric type stuff here. Just to kind of start the track off. And then we also have an intro synth right here that's slowly being faded in. Actually, let me show you the patch that I made this from. So if you watch my breakdown on my track conductor, I went into this a little bit, but this is what I call a must-die bass. Got the idea from one of his Twitch live streams, and basically it's just like a driving synth to kind of build momentum in the track and keep the track going. So, but what I did with this particular patch was I added a ton of filtering and a lot of particular filtering, low passes and high passes, and then kind of cut everything, and then added a frequency shifter on it, and then a bit of auto pan, so it would kind of just like chop it up a little bit, and the end result was this. And so I don't even know where my mind was going. I was just tossing random effects at the sound, and it turned out pretty cool, kind of just like a whoop 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 kind of thing. Oh, also I want to break down my my sends and returns. So these are my send tracks down here, and the first one is a forest floor reverb preset, which is a preset in Ableton, just a regular reverb, and then a rectifier send, which is just a saturation preset in Ableton as well. I got this idea from, I believe it was an old Woolier company live stream on Upsound, I don't recall. Basically, I'll just utilize those when I need a bit more saturation or a bit more reverb on a track. The advantage to using that is with just a dry sound, you get the effect layered on top of the dry sound, as opposed to just slapping an effect on a track and calling it good, right? So if I were to just slap reverb on this sound, it would just apply reverb to the dry sound. But when you use a send, it might be hard to tell with that particular sound, but basically you get the dry signal in addition to the wet signal. So it's not just a straight wet signal where it would just be like adding an effect to a track. It's the dry signal on the track with an additional wet signal. It's basically just an extra layer. So yeah, that's one of my intro synths right here, just slowly being volume automated in, all the way down, and then gradually up to like 12 or so, and then it dips out here again for one of the quick build-ups. But we'll get into that in a second. Also, I have this atmospheric layer, which consists of a few things. I have this dissonant drone down here, which I think I copied from Splice. It's only really represented by a few frequencies down here in the like 2 to 5 or 6K range. So without it, there's a lot more going on, but I really only liked that kind of high-end gritty stuff. And then I also slapped an auto pan on it to give it even more grit. And then I have this sample called Dissonant Fucking Atmosphere. That's an atmospheric sound that I use in a lot of projects. And then in addition, I also slapped some auto pan on it as well. Amounts at 100%, rates down at 64, which gives it kind of like, again, with this little dissonant sound down here, just a little bit of choppiness, which is really cool for gritty types of atmospheres. So this is what it sounds like together. So without the auto pan, it sounds a little bit like this. And then with it, yeah, I really like the grittiness of some of these atmospheres. So this one is just, I believe, like a vocal shout or something. Yeah, filtered over here and then passed, bringing the Q all the way down at 100 hertz. I like to do that for a lot of vocals or a lot of things, just to make sure that there's plenty of room for like lower end content like subs and like drones and things like that. And then I also have, as part of the atmospheric layer, this Ray Volpe resonant arpeggio. The original sound was actually kind of different. This is the original sound. And as you can tell, it's actually quite a bit different from that. So what I did was I added some EQ, and then I got this idea from Dan Larson, who runs List Synthesize Academy. He has a bunch of really great videos on YouTube. Honestly, for anybody looking to learn anything new in Ableton, I highly recommend his channel. But he has this video on how to create space for a drop, or how to fill up space in a drop. And it's basically taking just a sound. Usually, you know, synths and ARPs work really great for this type of thing. But in Ableton, there's these resonator presets. And you take the Los Angeles resonator preset, and then I kind of morphed it around to do my own little thing. There's some automation on here for the dry wet down near the build up, but basically just take like the Los Angeles preset, pass some frequencies, and then leave it around here. The key to this is you take 2 regular chorus presets in Ableton, and then you just slap them on there and then filter out a bunch of high-end content. So if I were to just leave the high-end content as is, it's really harsh and gritty on the ears, but if I filter it out, you get much more of a kind of space taking up thing. Basically, it just takes up a lot of space, and like I said, without it, it's a big mess. And also, I added a bunch of reverb on here, so it would just be more spacious. But yeah, those are all the atmospheric things. All together, the atmospheres sound like this. You have to excuse my MacBook kind of clipping on random things. My MacBook is not the most powerful, but we're doing it anyways because hell, why not? So yeah, those are the atmospheric chunks. What am I missing? Probably one of the most exciting parts of the intro for me is the granular glitchy stuff. I'm gonna play some of it right now. So a lot of this was just perks and glitches and weird stuff that I threw into Portal. And if you don't know what Portal is this amazing granular synthesis effect plugin from Output. Portal's great because you can literally just toss any old sample, audio effect, MIDI, whatever in there, and you can just use granular synthesis on it. There's a ton of really cool stuff in here, but I won't hop into Portal too much because Portal could be like 10 videos on its own. It's that amazing. Anyway, this sound right here, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll just have like Portal jams where I'll like toss different sounds and different things into a sound design project and loop it so it'll just be those same sounds repeating over and over again, and then I'll take sounds out and put more sounds in, and then I'll just record the entire thing on a separate track. But basically just a really random kind of Portal sound design session. And it's really fun to do. And then a few of these other glitches are again, more Portal things. I think this one was a sound design session in Portal as well. So was this. I added a lot of delay on that one. There's like 8 bars of delay, and the dry wet's at like 83%, so there's a lot of delay on that. But mainly just, you know, just making weird stuff and using it in tracks. But yeah, let's move on, shall we? Okay, so coming around to about halfway to the drop, we have some impacts, claps, and vox going on. So right here, we got a Cashmere reverb clap. Nothing on it, it's just sitting at -10 right here. We also have a choir from Omnisphere. This is the Choirmen O's with a exponential, I don't even, sure, exponential arrow pointing up. And then I got a tiny bit of saturation send on it, and it's brought down about 12 or so, and then it ducks out around here. Also have, this is a really cool thing I have here. This was a human breath sample that I found on Splice. It's really high quality, but I let's see, I cut a bunch of low and high end off of it. I used a glue compressor and a saturator to beef up the sound, and then again just some post EQing on that. And then I also utilized, this is pretty much the same for all of the intro as well, but I used what's called Bass Cleph's Easy Washout to give that sound a lot of reverb and delay. So essentially what Bass Cleph's Easy Washout is, if you don't know what it is, it's an amazing free Ableton rack. Really good for using in like build-ups and really atmospheric stuff. I'll actually link to it in the description below. It's amazing, yeah. So let's see, without it, I also still have some reverb on here, but without the rack, there's a little bit of reverb on it, but with the rack, there's a lot more delay on it. Basically, it's just, it's some grain delay, some filtering, some reverb, some EQ, more filter delay, some compression. I've seen it be compared a lot to just basically being a free version of Data Life's plugin Endless Smile, which is just like an incredible plugin for risers and building tension in tracks. I'll actually link to it in the description below. It's amazing, yeah. Another part of the Vox channel, we have this. Just a filtered hay. I mean, pretty standard dubstep stuff. And then I also have this planetary impact from Ray Volpe's Splice Pack. I don't think I did anything to that. But yeah, altogether everything so far sounds like this. And then the duck out. So I actually ducked out a lot of things right there. Let's see what else we opened up. So I ducked out, there's a lot of volume automation being utilized here. A lot for the effects. I'm basically ducking out everything on the effects channel, the atmosphere channel, my little kind of frequency modulated synth up here. Basically just making room for this Cashmere sub drop. And then we get into the build. And the build is 8 bars, but the intro, can't talk. Woo! So let's break down what's going on in the build section. As you can tell, the claps are really picking up here, and then they gradually get faster, all the way up to the vocal sample before the drop, and then also have some Vox things going on down here as well. This is just part of the pre-drop vocal right here that I chopped up and slowly filtered in. Added a ton of reverb send on it as well. And then we have the pre-drop vocal and the drop. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. So for the pre-drop vocals, we have a few things here. This is the first pre-drop vocal. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. So this is a sample that I grabbed from YouTube. YouTube always has the breasts. YouTube always has the breasts. No, YouTube always has the best pre-drop vocals samples that you can find. Yeah, just convert YouTube videos. It's my big tip for finding pre-drop vocals. But yeah, let's hop into this. This is from a track by Army of the Pharaohs called Black Christmas, and this is the acapella for it. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. So as you can tell, there's a lot happening there for as opposed to just a dry vocal. So this is what it sounds like on its own. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. And then with everything on there. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. So let me walk through a little bit of what this was like. So I have just 2 EQ cuts, super heavy, around 1K, just to cut out a bunch of really harsh content. And then I have this, so this is like a rack within a rack right here. And it's mainly for basses. I use it a lot for basses. It consists of a fat rack and then some frequency shifting, phasing, and then OTT and Camel Crusher. But what I did for this particular patch was I used it, or what I did for this particular track is I utilized it on a pre-drop vocal instead. And that's just to give it more, just like kind of that digital grittiness that you would typically find in like a dubstep growl or a bass. And I kind of just applied it to my pre-drop vocal, and it ended up working out really well. But I also want to talk about some layers that I did down here. So I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. I have 2 other instances of this pre-drop vocal, and both of them are being pitched up 7, 8, 9-ish semitones. I want to check this out. Yeah, this one is being pitched up from -1 to 6, so 7, and then this one is being pitched up from 1 to 9, so yeah, 8. And yeah, they're both sitting on the sides, one on the left and one on the right respectively, and then I kind of just have them slowly cross over at different speeds, so they kind of create a more atmospheric kind of vibe for the pre-drop vocal. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. And then just some of the processing again. I have some hard 1K cuts here, and then some auto panning, which is being automated up. So it starts off normal, and then it kind of just like, I don't even know what to call it, but it gets quicker with the auto panning. Cooking up Def Jams. And then the second one down here, I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. It's got the same type of thing going on. The panning is a little bit different, but I also automated a resonator just to give it a bit more of a metallic-y feel. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. And basically with that, you can kind of tune your metallic-iness with resonators. And so I tuned it to the key of the song and then just layered it in. I'm the chef and I'm cooking up Def Jams. Yeah, pretty cool. Cool, so let's hop into the drop of this song a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to explain my my sidechaining process for drop drums. Major shouts out to Barely Alive for this technique. So I have my kick, kind of shortened it up a little bit, and then I'm also layering that with a kick from Sultan's pack. I think this is kick 07. I took a little bit of the transients off of it, so it's basically just like a lower thud with like a little bit of high-end content. And then I also have my clap. Super nice and heavy clap, and then I'm also saturating this with the rectifier send down here. So it's sitting at negative 30 just to give it a little bit more umph. So without the rectifier send. And then with it, yeah, basically what I was saying with ShaperBox is that you can route ShaperBox to your groups, and Barely Alive has an amazing Barely Alive sidechain preset if you grab ShaperBox to, or if you grab Volume Shaper rather. They have a community feature where anybody can upload their sidechain, and Barely Alive uploaded their sidechain, and it is magnifique. It's really great. So I use it on my base group and my subgroup. Essentially what we have here is a you set up a MIDI trigger, so it's just a blank MIDI track that you route to your kick snare group, and then you say, hey, this is my bass group, that's where I want it to be. I want the kick snare to be going in here, and I want it to be routed to ShaperBox. And since there is a ShaperBox 2 on my bass group, that means it's going to be routed to my bass group. Highly recommend watching that tutorial if you haven't. It's great. Volume Shaper is only like $40, so I would highly recommend it. But anyway, let's hop a little bit into what we have here. So this is how the basses sound on their own. And so a lot of this is, again, Portal work, just like making a bunch of serum patches and then tossing them in Portal and seeing just what comes out. The main part of this, though, is from actually a granular synthesis pack called Granular Graveyard, and it's coming out very soon, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this is the this is basically the whole meat and potatoes of this drop, of the drop basses right here. And then I have a few things going on. I have some gain automation, doing cuts like that. I'm also doing like an extra manual kind of side chaining where I scroll in here to about 1/64th, 1/32nd, doesn't really matter. I scroll about that far in, and then I'll like take one point on either side and then just drag the volume all the way down. It looks like in this case I was dragging it down on solely the snare or the clap, but sometimes I'll do it on the kicks as well, and it kind of just adds like another layer of pumping effect to kind of just like make the swells and the basses hit a little bit harder. Yeah, it's it's not really something that's like easily picked up on. I just kind of liked it for this particular project. I use it a lot in other projects as well. I'm gonna go into a little bit of the basses here. This was a bass I made with I think either square waves or saw waves, and then like heavy sync. And then I have Barely Alive processing on here. I don't recall where this rack came from. I think it was a an Excellent Sound video, but regardless, I just slapped it on there and it made everything go from this to this. So yeah, there's a lot of heavy kind of distortion on it. There's some erosion, some OTT, there's a lot of reverb on it, and then I think a gate to cut like noise that isn't relevant. And then for me, the original sound was a little too wide, so I slapped a utility on it and brought the width down to about half, which just made it a little bit more centered and prime for a layer. And then also just a few other little kind of bass loop things that I made. Again, a lot of this stuff is from the Granular Graveyard. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. Anyway, that's kind of the basses section. A lot of it is just a bunch of really crazy Portal work and just really random shit happening. But that's the cool thing about making music, man. You find random shit and you make it work, and somehow it ends up working out on its own. I really like that aspect of writing music where you can just toss something in a project and try to build around it, as opposed to having an idea and trying to make things for the project. I find that making stuff and then just tossing it in somewhere approach to be a lot more conducive to creativity and writing music, at least for me. But anyway, we're moving on. We have a Sultan sub, super clean sub, and then that's being cut at around 120 with the Q all the way down. With my mastering chain, I found it to be a little harsh if I just left it at regular. There were all these weird harmonics that I didn't really want in my sub, so I dragged it all the way down. And it made it super clean, super duper clean. As far as the drop effects go, there's not a lot because the basses take up so much high-end frequency content that I didn't really need a lot of them. The main one is just this kind of Virtual Riot riser, just to create some tension in the drop. And then let's check out some of the alternate drums down here. This is basically just the hi-hat section. I have some extra kicks on the beginning in this group, but that's just because I didn't know where else to put them. So yeah. Sultan cymbal loop. Sultan's packs are fucking amazing. If you haven't seen them or ran into them on Splice yet, highly recommend. The drums are incredible. The Middle Eastern fills, prime. Absolutely prime. Anyway, that's kind of it for the drop effects and stuff. A lot of it is just being heavily carried by how crazy and frequency heavy the basses are, and the granular synthesis stuff from Portal is. But let's hop into the breakdown. It's basically a lot of the same elements from over here, but we also have a bit more granular glitches. This is being volume automated to kind of create movement within the track. And then we also have one more synth up here. This is another Ray-Volpe thing that I've kind of filtered out to my liking. It's just kind of like an alarm, and then I've also added a little bit of reverb send up here as well. And then near the end here, I filtered it up a lot. Let me grab that automation really quickly. Cool, here it is. From, yeah, sitting down around like 200 hertz, and then just bumped it up to like 2.5K. Over here for the second portion of the pre-drop vocals, we have 2 vocals doubled, and then I slapped some OTT on the entire pre-drop vocals, so, and then cut 100 hertz from the bottom. So this is what they sound like. Cut the check for 10 grand. And then right into the second drop. And that's just some more wild stuff happening over here. A lot of this is, again, more granular stuff in Portal. That I kind of chopped up and made into a rhythm. Oh, some other cool stuff for the second drop is that bass clef's easy washout that I talked about earlier. I'm also automating about halfway up where the original kick snare kick clap pattern would start. I took both the first clap and the second kick away, so it would start on the 1 2 3 4 where the second clap would be, and then it just smacks down. So yeah, so that's kind of really cool for like just building space and building a different little type of just something different. Just ways to differentiate your drops. But yeah, it's a lot different than the second one, but still kind of having that same sort of sound design. It's just a different iteration of what I had up here, and then a lot of just wild shit happening in there as well. And then we come to the end of the track. Just some drones to take us out. Some atmospheric stuff. Some white noise. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot. I'm glad to do more of these types of breakdowns for future tracks. So yeah, The Chef is out right now. Go listen to it. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, again, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I mean, I'm sure this isn't your first time on YouTube, so you know the spiel. Yeah, I really appreciate the support. Thank you guys, and I'll be back soon with more. And yeah, I hope you liked it. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace.